Welcome to the world of biology through Jaguar classes of Jagran Public School, Noida. Today we are continuing with the chapter 1 part in this part 2 of the chapter Living World. We will focus on the topics that we are covering in today's class: diversity, taxonomical categories, and taxonomical aids. In earlier class, we have already covered up the topic what is a living, what is a non living, and features of living organisms. And in this class, we will cover the subtopics biodiversity and taxonomical categories as well as process of classification as binomial nomenclature and taxonomical aids which help us to classify the different organisms in that taxonomical into different taxonomical categories. Now, after today's class, the expected learning outcomes are like that: knowledge based outcomes in which you will be able to understand and know the need for classification, taxonomy, and systematics as a branch of classification, and concept of species and different taxonomical hierarchical taxons and binomial nomenclature process. At a glance, you will be able to understand and you will be able to describe after today's class. Tools for study of taxonomy and their names and how they are used, you will be able to know after today's class. The skill based outcomes that we are expecting, you will cover up after today's class or you will learn after today's class, that you will be able to understand and differentiate between different taxonomical categories like kingdom, phylum, genus, order, class, and species, etc. You will also be able to critically analyze the importance of biological classification of living organism and the importance of that classification process. You will be able to group the organisms on the basis of similarities and differences as per the systematics and competencies that you will develop after learning today's facts in this chapter, that collaborative learning of all the learning facts uh, that you will utilize for the critical thinking and problem solving nature, to develop problem solving nature to solve any problem related with that, and you will also uh, develop the competencies related with the communication and analytical skills, having group discussions and sharing your ideas and facts related with that topic. Now let's start with our today's class with the second part of this chapter, word of living. As we have already discussed in earlier part, the different characteristic feature of living beings, and here we are quickly recapitulating some of the important characteristic feature of living beings. As we know that all living organisms grow and growth is related with the increase in mass and number, and these are the important facts about the growth in organisms. Increase in cell number, it is also known is one of the part of the growth. Increase in cell mass is also one of the part of this growth function, and growth in plants, growth is taking place in microorganisms also, and growth we have seen in animals also. But as we have discussed in earlier class, this is not considered as one of the fundamental characters. Why? Because this is contradictory with some of the events that are taking place in our nature, where we have seen that growth of mass in non-living things also by accumulation of soil or different things on a particular place which pile up that particular thing to increase the mass, that is also growth. And but that, this is the external growth, and growth taking place inside the living organism is known as internal growth. Next important characteristic feature that we have discussed in earlier class. All living organisms reproduce, and reproduction is taking place by asexual reproduction with the help of these modes of asexual reproduction, where uh, you can see that here: budding, fragmentation, spore formation, binary and multiple fission. And another method of reproduction is sexual reproduction. But this was also not considered as the fundamental characteristic feature. Why? Because infertile couples which cannot reproduce are also living. Means it is not necessary for the survival of the living organism, but it is important for the continuation of the species. Now, besides reproduction and growth, living organisms exhibit metabolism, which is one of the important fundamental characteristic feature, and living organisms have the ability to sense their surroundings, which is known as consciousness. And these two are the important characteristic feature which can be considered as fundamental characteristic feature of living, because these two features are not present in non-livings and they totally distinguish living from the non-livings. Now come to the next part of this chapter, that is biodiversity, and in this session we will focus on biodiversity, nomenclature, identification and binomial nomenclature. These are the four important key facts about this chapter when we are talking about the biodiversity. What is biodiversity? Different life forms on this earth is known as biodiversity. Nomenclature is the process of giving scientific name to different organism, different living organism in this world. That process is known as nomenclature, and identification is one of the part of nomenclature or classification process. And binomial nomenclature, that you have already studied in class 9th, which was introduced by the Carolus Linnaeus, and it is the process of giving scientific name which are considered as the uniform name in all over the world for all the living organisms, and it depends upon the two important features, that is genus and species. Generic epithet and specific epithet together makes the scientific name of an organism according to this process of nomenclature. Now come to know about nomenclature. In nomenclature process in this living world, there are two organizations responsible for giving scientific name to different living organism. One is known as ICBN, means International Code for Botanical Nomenclature, which is responsible for giving scientific name to different plants, and International Code of Geological Nomenclature ICZN is responsible for the giving scientific name for different animals in this living world. Now, these are the four key points or uh, key words which we are using in the next part of this chapter, that is classification. And classification is the process, a systematic process of arrangement of different organism into different groups and subgroups on the basis of their similarities and differences. Taxa are the groups in which we are dividing the different organism according to this classification are known as taxa. The singular of this is known as taxon. And taxonomy is the science of classification according to which we are biologically classifying the different organism to understand quickly and at a glance in a very quick manner the whole living world. And systematics is a branch of science in which we are systematically arranging all these taxons or all the organism into different taxons in a taxonomical hierarchical way. Now, here the word taxonomical hierarchy. Try to understand this word. And taxonomical hierarchy means a sequence or systematic order to arrange different groups and subgroups into which a particular organism is divided. And in this taxonomical hierarchy, the kingdom is coming at the uppermost level, then a kingdom is having more similarities but less, we can say that more differences but less similarities, and it is the uppermost level of the taxonomical hierarchy, a kingdom in which the organisms are coming. When they are differentiated, they are divided into different subgroups which are known as phylum in case of animals, and in case of plants they are known as divisions. When these are further differentiated on the basis of another subgroup in which they are divided, which are known as class. Class is further divided into order. Order is further divided into families, and families are further on the basis of more differences are again differentiated into genus. Genus are divided or differentiated into species, and this is the lowest level of the taxonomical hierarchy, where we can say that more similarities in a particular group of organisms and less differences are there. Now, try to understand the word species in this taxonomical category. Species, a group of individuals with fundamental similarities, and with these fundamental similarities, they can breed among themselves. That is also one of the important part of the definition of species. A group of individuals with fundamental similarities which can interbreed or which can breed among themselves. Panthera leo, Mangifera indica, Homo sapiens, and Solanum tuberosum. These are the scientific name according to the binomial nomenclature, and all these four examples, this is the scientific name of tiger, the lion, Panthera leo, where Panthera is the genus and Leo is the species, and the in to the same genus Panthera, the another animal, that is tiger, is also belonging, and its name is Panthera tigris. Means Panthera genus have lion. They are lion is also coming in this genus, and tiger is also coming in this genus. But their species Leo indicates the lion. Means this is the scientific name of lion. Lion, and the Panthera tigris, the scientific name of the tiger. Mangifera indica, which is the scientific name of mango plant, where Mangifera is the genus, and indica is the species of that plant. Homo sapiens, this is the scientific name which is used for human beings, and our genus is Homo and species is sapiens. Solanum tuberosum, this is the scientific name of potato, where Solanum is the genus and tuberosum is the species name. Now, what is a genus? Genus can be defined as a group of related species. Means a genus has a different group which are related in coming in different species, and lion Panthera leo, and leopard Panthera pardus, and tiger Panthera tigris, that we have already discussed here. They all belong to the same genus, but their species are different, due to which their name is different at that level. Come to the family. This is the another taxonomic category. When we are going from species to genus, genus to family, that is the another taxonomic category, where a group of related genera is coming, and Panthera and Felis are put together in the family Felidae, and Solanum, Petunia, and Dhatura are placed in the family of Solanaceae. In that way, you can understand this taxonomic category, that is known as family. Then, when we move up different families are coming under a order. That means we can say that order is a group of families which exhibit a few similar characters. And example you can take here as Felidae and Cancidae are the included in Carnivora, and Convolvulaceae and Solanaceae are included in the Polynomials. Now come to the next higher level of taxonomical category, that is known as class, which is a group of related orders, and order Primata and Carnivora are included in the class Mammalia. This is an example of to show or to understand this taxonomical category as class. Then we are coming to the phylum, which is a group of related classes, and Pisces, amphibia, reptilia, aves, and mammals that you have studied in class 9th also are included in the same phylum. This phylum is known as Chordata, which are showing some typical characteristic feature. For example, presence of notochord and presence of gill slits. These are known as the general characteristic feature or important characteristic feature of chordata, in which all these classes are belonging or coming. Now, this is the highest level of taxonomical hierarchy, which is known as kingdom, and at this level, all animals belonging to the various phyla are included in the highest category called kingdom Animalia, and similarly, all plants belonging to various divisions are included in the highest category called plant kingdom or kingdom Plantae. Now, in the last section of this today's class, we are talking about all these taxonomical process of, or we can say that steps of classification process are taking place by the taxonomist with the help of different taxonomical aids, and these taxonomical aids or tools help us to classify or to do the classification process in an easy manner. And some of the classification or taxonomical aids or tools are here. One is herbarium. I have given the home task related with holiday assignment related with that herbarium to you also. I hope that you all have prepared your herbarium during this summer break. And the next is botanical garden, and whenever we will get time we will move to a botanical garden, specifically a botanical garden present in our Noida also. We will move there and to see that what are the different plants in these botanical gardens are present. These are also one of the tool to study the taxonomy or classification process. The third tool is museum. Museum are also considered as taxonomical aids, which also help us to classify the and help in classification process. Geological parks or zoos are also helping us to keep or to understand or to study the different animals in different which are kept here in geological parks, and we can study them at one place. Key is one another taxonomical aid which help us to classify or to arrange these different organisms in the living world into different groups and subgroups. With that, we have completed our today's important topics that we have taken in this chapter. Now, come to see some presentation to understand with the help of some media presentation here. Now, see this presentation to understand these facts.
Finding order in diversity. Life on Earth has been constantly changing over the years. This has led to a staggering diversity in living organisms, which we refer to as biodiversity. To study this great diversity amongst organisms, biologists have attempted to classify them in a logical manner. Let us learn about this classification in detail. The first step in the classification of living beings is to name them. Most of them have a specific local name. However, a local name is not accepted worldwide. In 1751, Carolus Linnaeus provided a solution to this problem. He introduced a scientific naming convention for plants and animals. According to this system, a scientific name has two components: a generic name, which is written first, followed by the name of the species. In accordance with the International Code for Botanical Nomenclature and the International Code for Zoological Nomenclature, every plant and animal, respectively, can have only one scientific name. An organism can be classified into 7 hierarchical categories based on its similarities or differences with other organisms. Each hierarchical category is known as a taxon. Click a tab to learn more.
Now try to understand these taxons. What is a kingdom?
This is the largest category where all phyla with similar characteristics are placed together. For example, the phyla Chordata and Arthropoda belong to the kingdom Animalia. All members of this kingdom are multicellular, reproduce sexually, have specialized cells for particular functions, and have some type of skeletal support.
And what are
Many
phy-
classes with common characteristics form a phylum. For example, the classes Mammalia and Amphibia belong to the phylum Chordata. Common characteristics of this phylum include pharyngeal slits, a notochord, post-anal tail, and a hollow dorsal nerve cord.
Now come to know about the next taxonomical category, that is class.
Similar orders form a class. For example, the orders Carnivora and Perissodactyla are both part of the class Mammalia. All members of this class have a 4-chambered heart, 3 middle ear bones, and sweat glands.
Now come to know about the order.
Families having common characteristics form an order. For example, the families Ursidae and Mustelid belong to the order Carnivora. The common characteristics of carnivores are sharp claws, more than 4 toes on each foot, and well-developed canine teeth.
What is a family? Try to know
A
here.
family is a group of different genera having some common characteristics. For example, genera Ursus and Ailuropoda are grouped together to form the family Ursidae. All organisms belonging to this family have big heads, small eyes, stocky legs, sharp claws, and a short tail.
And in genus, we can say that
Genus is a group of closely related species. For example, the grizzly bear and polar bear both belong to the genus Ursus. The common characteristic between them is that they walk with their feet flat on the ground.
and in species,
Species is the lowest taxonomic category. It is a group of closely related individuals which can interbreed freely within the group. The individuals of 2 different species are quite distinct from each other in their appearance and behavior.
now with that you will be able to understand about the different taxonomical.
Arrange the
Categories.
different levels of taxonomic classification for human beings in the correct order. Click a taxon and click the slot where it fits. Then click Evaluate.
Now, to understand the taxonomical categories, we will try to do this activity. And here we are talking about humans' order of hierarchy or different taxonomy. According to hierarchical order of the different taxonomical categories, the human beings belong to which kingdom? Our kingdom is Animalia, or we are belong to animal kingdom. Now we are keeping animal kingdom here. Our phylum to which we are belonging, yes, we are belonging to chordata phylum. We will keep in that order. And class in which to which we belong is known as primata. Our order is primata. Our class is mammalia. We are belonging to mammalia class. And our order is primata. Means we are belonging to order primates. Our family is hominid family. That means in family wise we are coming in this, and genus is Homo, and our species is sapiens. That's why our name is Homo sapiens. And in that way, now let us evaluate our answer.
That's correct. Here are some important characteristics which are considered for the classification of humans.
With that, we have finished our this chapter, the word of living, and have a quick summary of the
Here
chapter.
is a quick overview of the taxonomic categories.
Here is a quick week, and in this way you will be able, I hope that you all will be able to understand the concept of classification hierarchy, as well as binomial nomenclature process, and concept of that differentiation between living and non-living in this chapter. And now I am finishing this class here. Have a nice day, and